Melchizedek's identity as a pagan Canaanite king rather than a pre-incarnate Christ figure can be convincingly argued based on several theological, historical, and scriptural points. Melchizedek is described in Genesis 14, verse 18, as the king of Salem and priest of the Most High God, Elyon. Salem is widely identified with Jerusalem, a city that, during Abraham's time, would have been under Canaanite control. Canaanite religion was polytheistic, and Elyon was one of the many gods worshipped in the region. The fact that Melchizedek served as a priest of Elyon suggests he was operating within the religious framework of his Canaanite culture, which would not have recognized the God of Israel as the sole deity. The title Elyon, Most High God, is not unique to the Hebrew Bible, but is found in other ancient Near Eastern texts, where it refers to the supreme deity in various pantheons. In Canaanite religion, Elyon was considered the chief god, often associated with the sky or the high places. This supports the view that Melchizedek was a priest of a local syncretistic version of the supreme god, rather than the God of Israel as understood in later Jewish and Christian theology. If Melchizedek were a pre-incarnate Christ, it would be reasonable to expect that later Jewish texts, especially those with a messianic focus, would highlight this connection. However, Melchizedek is mentioned only briefly in the Hebrew Bible, with no explicit link to messianic prophecy. The Psalms, specifically Psalm 110 verse 4, mention Melchizedek, but this reference is more likely an allusion to the order of priesthood rather than a literal identification with the Messiah. In the New Testament, particularly in the book of Hebrews, chapter 7, Melchizedek is used as a type or foreshadowing of Christ, especially in his role as a priest-king. However, typology is not the same as identity. The author of Hebrews draws parallels between Melchizedek and Christ to emphasize the superiority of Christ's priesthood over the Levitical priesthood, not to suggest that Melchizedek was literally Christ pre-incarnate. The argument in Hebrews is theological, not historical, designed to show that Jesus' priesthood is of a different and superior order. If Melchizedek were Christ pre-incarnate, it would raise complex theological questions about the nature of Christ's incarnation and how it relates to the Old Testament appearances. The incarnation is understood in Christian theology as a unique one-time event where the second person of the Trinity became fully human. Suggesting that Christ appeared in human form before this event undermines this central doctrine. Jewish interpretations of Melchizedek do not support the idea that he was a divine figure. Instead, he is often seen as a historical king who was a righteous Gentile, recognizing the true God in a polytheistic context. This view aligns with the broader biblical theme of God revealing himself to non-Israelites in various ways. Melchizedek, when understood in his historical and cultural context, appears to be a pagan Canaanite king who worshipped a version of the supreme God within the Canaanite pantheon. His role in the Bible is significant, but he should not be conflated with Christ pre-incarnate. Instead, he serves as a typological figure that foreshadows the kind of priesthood that Christ would later embody, without being identical to Christ himself.